Market branding on the top. We're going to rebrand it iConex, I for idea or I for IDX, whichever you prefer, but we're going to call it iConex. But the functionality is going to be the same. And the way IDEA works is we try to pick the best of breed partners and partner with them and leverage their expertise and facilitate that to the channel. And we're really excited about this one. We've got some good early indication of customer use that Jamie's going to talk a little bit about in a few minutes. But we think this one is one that really the time has come. So I will turn it over to Brent and enjoy the presentation.
Thanks, Mike. My name is Brent Halverson, and I'm the president and CEO of a Vancouver-based software company called EC Market. And first off, good morning to everyone. I see I have stuff I can throw at you guys as well. So if you do fall asleep, I can chuck stuff, and I won't hit the ceiling in here, I promise. So what is Connexium? Well, it's a service that seamlessly maps documents like purchase orders, and we're going to specifically talk about purchase orders today, but it can do invoices into EDI, and we're going to talk more about how that works. It's going to leverage your existing IDX system today, so if you've already got IDX, you're going to be able to leverage that, the people and the processes. It's 100% data accurate, and we're going to talk more about other solutions that do this today in the market, such as OCR. You or your trading partners don't need any technical knowledge to do this. You've already got the knowledge to do this. It can be deployed in minutes, and it works across all major operating systems and ERP systems that are out there today. So, though our partnership is new with IDEA, we've been out in the market with over 5 years with this solution. And what we've seen from our customers is there's at least a minimum 50% cost reduction using this solution. And unlike other solutions, this thing will actually reduce costs for you while increasing the satisfaction of your customers. And that's a great value for this solution. You're not going to be able to cut costs, but increase the customer satisfaction. You're going to see how one of the largest customers, 3M here, has lowered their bad debts with it. And it's a green technology because at the end of the day, it eliminates paper. So agenda, I'm going to give you a bit of a background on EC Market. We're going to talk a bit about the eBusiness environment today. We're then going to present a case study on 3M and to see what this has actually done for 3M. We're going to talk about how Connexium is different from other solutions in the marketplace. And then we're going to give you a summary and an ability to ask questions. And if you want to ask questions along the way, please feel free to ask them. So EC Market's been around for a long time. We were founded as an e-commerce service provider. We've typically gone to market through industry associations. The first one was the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters. We've also partnered with the Industrial Supply Associations in the US. And a matter of fact, 3M, our largest customer, came the way of the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters. And we've just created signed a partnership agreement with IDEA to target the electrical sector. And what our company does at the core from a technology point of view is we're focused on enabling electronic transactions without forcing process change. And you guys might find, wow, it's a little bit strange. Everybody's out to improve processes. Well, we're out to actually allow people, and you'll see here, to leverage their existing processes to enable these transactions. So what about the current e-business environment out there today? And I'm going to use 3M as an example. 3M had been doing EDI for years, and they got some of their largest customers on it. They had then built a B2B shopping cart. Now, have you guys all done that today? You're already doing EDI. Have you done B2B websites today? Well, 3M, like probably a lot of you guys found, was, well, they got a lot of guys on EDI. They paid a lot of people to do B2B, gave them discounts on their, to do the shopping carts. But they still have this group of customers in the middle that won't do EDI because it's either too expensive, they don't buy enough from 3M, they don't have the resources to implement it, and they don't want to use 3M shopping cart. Well, why is that? Well, they've got their own ERP system, so they type it into their ERP system, and now 3M says, well, print that out and go type it into our online website. So in other words, as a customer, you want me to do dual order entry. Well, 3M had reached the point where they couldn't get more EDI, they couldn't get more people in the shopping cart, and it left this big gap of high-value customers in the middle that were still printing or faxing orders in today. This is a study by eBusiness.org. It's a European entity that has studied e-business trends around the world. And still today, 70% of documents are still not exchanged electronically. And when they actually surveyed the companies, what they found out was the lack of technical or financial resources from their trading partners that got in the way of doing electronic transactions. And that's when we looked at it with 3M, was a new approach was really needed to do this. So what is the Connexium solution? How does it help here? Well, first off, it is a service. So it's delivered as a service to simplify implementation and support. Excuse me. What we do is we capture standard documents, either email, PDF, Excel, Word documents, or print streams, and we transform that into EDI. We deliver those documents as EDI via IDX, and we can also turn around and deliver confirmations and order acknowledgements back from those documents as a rich text format back to the other trading partner. And today we're specifically talking about the exchange of purchase orders from your customers. Technology has been around over 5 years, and a lot of successful customers. Like I said earlier, we're just starting our partnership with IDEA. We're going to talk mostly about purchase orders today, but the plan is to do other documents, order acknowledgements, invoices, etc. But at this point in time, we're focusing on doing purchase orders with IDEA. And we'll, based on demand, we'll look at the next set of documents to do. So I want to talk about a case study at 3M. And we've been working with 3M over 5 years now. And they use the system to convert buyers that were faxing or emailing orders in to EDI, into electronic transactions. It's marketed under the brand Print to 3M. And it's rolled out by not their EDI or technical team. It's rolled out by their customer service department in the different businesses and countries around the world. So they don't have technical resources to roll this out. It's done by the customer service staff. They pick the customers they want to put on it, and they get them implemented. We started in Canada, went to the US in the automotive aftermarket with 3M, and we're now around the world with them in about 16 or 17 different countries today. So what was 3M doing, and what would we want to do? So if you look at this graphic, buying companies were sending in purchase orders either by fax or email. A CSR was keying those orders in the system, just like you guys will be doing today, and this is what was happening at 3M. And at 3M, each business and division or country had a little different challenge. Some had not enough CSRs during peak ordering times, cutoff times. So orders never made it into the system, and they never made it out in time. I'm sure you guys have had those challenges where you'll get peak time and you don't have enough CSRs to get those orders in the system. Others were the business was growing, and they didn't have budget to hire more customer service staff. So how are you going to process more orders with the same number of staff? You're going to miss orders, mistakes are going to get made. And the third one, which is I guess the elephant in the room, they needed to cut costs. And so this was a way for some of those businesses to reduce headcount or redeploy them, if that was the other word that was potentially used. So how does Connexium help with these sorts of challenges? Well, the first thing was we don't change the process. So a 3M customer, if they were printing their order to 3M, they still print the order to 3M. If they were emailing the order to 3M, they still email it. They might change the email address, but they're fundamentally doing the same thing. The orders are sent into the Connexium service. We transform them into one EDI format for 3M. We send it to 3M, goes into 3M system, sales orders created, 3M sends us information back where we can send out confirmations and acknowledgements by email in a PDF form to give information back to the buyers. So let's look at it graphically. Buyer prints or emails an order into the Connexium network. We map it into EDI, and we send it off to 3M. And of course, if we can do this for one of their customers, we can do it for multiple of their customers. Excuse me. What does 3M do? They create a sales order in their system, and they'll send us order confirmations and order acknowledgements in EDI format back to us, and we will transform them into PDF files to send that information back out to the buyers. So they still, in the previous slide, they printed or emailed. The customer still print an email. The big difference in the middle, instead of a CSR typing it in, the Connexium network and the services we have are transforming that into EDI and sending it into 3M's system. Boy, this looks bad on the slide. This is an example of one of the order acknowledgements that actually go out to the buyers of 3M. And what's interesting here, and the customers and the buyers just love this. As you can see on the left-hand side here, it's the customer's original PO data. And on the right-hand side, it's 3M's data and changes. So for example, the stuff in red are the scheduled ship dates. The cross-out on the prices is a price change. In other words, whatever was on the PO that came into the system, the contract pricing in 3M's system is different. And why the customers and buyers love this, if you think about what happens in a typical purchasing process today, buyer sends an order in, you guys put it in your system, the pricing is different, what happens next? You invoice them, they receive the goods, you invoice them, and the buyer, someone says to the buyer, did we buy this at this price? Guy looks at his system and goes, it's not the price that I put on my purchase order. So that's a month or 2 months later, you're arguing about what those price differences are. In this solution, the buyer will get this order acknowledgement back somewhere within, potentially in some countries, as fast as an hour, some 24 hours later. So they can adjust their PO before the invoice comes in and the goods are received. And this has really helped 3M reduce credits and adjustments, and hence lower their bad debt. So if you look at benefits we brought to 3M, and it's a long list here, so I won't read any, but read them all, but it's going to save the cost of the manual order entry, number one. It's going to reduce those order entry errors that are happening today. For 3M, it allows them to enable lights out order processing, where they're just touchless orders. No one has to touch those orders when they come into the system. It has increased customer satisfaction, so 3M's customers are happier using the system. And they can bring on more customers without bringing in additional resources. They don't have to hire more people to handle an increased volume load. For 3M's customers, why do they like it? Well, they're going to get faster order cycle time. Orders are going to get in the system earlier. So those orders that are placed late in the day, they're getting in the system. They're not waiting until the next day. It's 100% data accurate, so there's no rekeying errors that are going on in the system, and they get these enhanced order acknowledgements and confirmations back from 3M. So what do 3M executives say? Well, this is Ian Hardgrove, and Ian's been a champion of us for years. He was actually the president of 3M Canada when we first brought the solution into 3M Canada. He moved on to the automotive aftermarket. He brought the solution with us to the automotive aftermarket and then helped us get us into 3M on worldwide. But if you look at what he says here, and you'll see this with a thread for most of the 3M quotes, it does eliminate, makes them more productive, and it eliminates effort. But it makes them easier to do business with. And a lot of the 3M people will say that, makes it easier to do business with. What about their IT managers? So Ian McTavish, he's the person responsible for getting Connexium out worldwide. And there's a couple things Ian really loved about the solution. Connexium gives the same accuracy rate as EDI, or better, in some instances, as EDI, but not all the costs and setup time and knowledge that their customers need to implement EDI. The 100%, and this is the 100% data accurate, is very important here, because Ian was responsible for an OCR project in Europe that they rolled out. And is everyone here familiar with OCR, optical character recognition? So they were using a service where orders came in, they were scanned, they were converted into data. An operator would look at it on the screen, and then they would push a button if it was validated to get it into the system. Well, they found in Europe it didn't save them any money. So they ended up shutting the OCR service down in Europe and rolling out Connexium in Europe. And we're in, I think, 10 different countries in Europe now. 3M Customer Service Manager, Director in Canada. Again, it's not just about increasing productivity, reducing costs. What differentiates from their customers or from their competitors? 3M customers, what do they say? Easy to use. I wish more suppliers would use this today. And this brings me to an example when we were first rolling this out with 3M Canada quite a few years ago. And when 3M first engaged with us, we used to do the rollouts on behalf of them. All the learnings that we've learned over the years, we don't need to do that anymore. You guys can do that. But there was a purchasing manager of an automotive aftermarket distributor. We called this gentleman up and said, we got a new e-business solution for you. And of course, we're still learning how to get people to engage and use the service. And you've been chosen by 3M to use the service. And the guy says, well, I'm not using no service. Like, I print and fax today and I'm happy. Oh yeah, but this service is going to save you time. You're going to be more efficient using it. Oh, I've had companies approach me all the time. I have this large paint manufacturer, I won't mention the name. They called me up with this e-business solution and said, this thing's going to make it more efficient for you. I tried it for a few weeks and realized it's crazy. It's not saving me any time. So I don't believe your solution's going to do it. So we explained how it worked, talked to them. And we said, it's as simple as printing an order from your system today, and it'll make it to 3M. He didn't believe us. We rolled it out. 2 weeks later, we called him out. And he said it was the first time in his life somebody, from a technology point of view, called him up and said, try something. And it made it easier. And he said to us, he said, I can't believe you guys actually made it easier than what I was doing. Because what I was doing was printing an order, going to the printer, going to the fax machine and faxing it. All I need to do is print it now. And it was pretty powerful because here was a gentleman that had been approached by companies, suppliers, about different solutions, and it's the first one that actually made his life easier. So 3M, ultimately, what sort of benefits did it bring to them? Well, an 80% reduction in cost of order entry costs. Due to the timely nature of data that gets back to them through that order acknowledgement, they decreased the number of credits and adjustments, which at the end lowered their bad debts. And one division, a 65% reduction in bad debt. 30% increase in order automation. So if they were doing 60% of their orders automated in a business, it went up to 80%. Improve their cycle times, again, increase the satisfaction with their customer base, and eliminates paper and order entry errors. So these were the big benefits that came to 3M. So how are we different than the marketplace today? And I'm not here to say EDI is bad, EDI is necessary. It's good. Matter of fact, we're connected through EDI. But your customers do not need any EDI expertise to interface. So if you've got customers that you've been trying to get on EDI and they just refuse, whatever their reasons are, they don't need to have additional costs to engage with you through EDI, and they don't need to change their processes. Online portals, which we talked about. But what's the worst thing about online portals? Someone's got to type it in their own system and then come to your portal and type it in. Well, they don't have to do it this year. So there's no process change for them. If they were printing or emailing it, they're still printing and emailing it. OCR, 100% data accuracy. Well, if I hold up 3 fingers here, someone tell me what the I is, whether it's an I, a 1, or an L. I don't know. Well, OCR has those same challenges of actually determining what those characters are. We don't use OCR. We'll read the actual data out of the email or print streams. And unlike OCR, where order comes in, it's scanned, where they may have multiple people review those orders before they go into the system, here you can actually enable lights out order processing where orders are not even touched, and 3M does that today. Other advantages. We have a subscription-based pricing model today that allows you to, it's independent of transaction volume, that allows you to go after your top manual, your customers that are sending in purchase orders today by email or print. It's going to simplify budgeting for you, and we believe it really provides motivation to get your biggest customers today that are printing and emailing in today into electronic transactions. Solution summary. Solution's been around over 5 years today. We've got, from our customers and our success at companies like 3M, we've shown that for high volume customers, we can transform these standard documents into EDI and put them into the system. Got big advantages over OCR today. There's no process change, and you can quickly roll this out to your customers. Files. Remember, I've talked about different file formats today. This is just sort of a summary of different files that your customers may be emailing orders in today. Excel files, text files, PDFs. PDFs is probably one of the bigger ones, but Word document, HTML, or printer files. This is a list of different documents that we can transform into EDI. On the printer side, though, what we found in the last 3 or 4 years, people are moving away from faxing and moving to more email. There's still some people out there today that print orders and fax orders today, and we can handle the multitude of the different printing protocols that are in the market today across different operating systems. So benefits for your company and your customers, excuse me. Well, you get to you've already invested in IDX, so I'm assuming when you invest in something, well, you guys don't want to invest in some other type of way to get orders in. So you get to leverage that system and get the orders to flow through just like an EDI. It's going to appear just like any other EDI order as you get today. You get to lower your costs and increase your customer satisfaction. I mean, you think about it for a sec. A lot of times it's like, we got to cut costs. Well, how are our customers feel if we're going to cut costs? Or this, you can cut costs, but actually give better customer service and increase loyalty. Maybe also have growth plans. I can get more customers with the same resources. And we really believe, as you see with 3M, the thread of their comments about how they see it differentiates themselves from their customers. As 3M, as Ian Harcourt says, we're easier to do business with today. We don't hassle them about switching how they got to get it to us. We give them information in a timely manner back about the status of their order. We're easier to do business with. Now I'm going to ask James here from McNaughton-McKay, because they are our first customer using Connexium through the IDEA network. And James, if you can say a couple things about how things are going for you.
How many of you are distributors here? If you wouldn't mind, show of hands. And are you competitors with McNaughton-McKay? If yes, it's a terrible service. But no, I'm just going to really give you the Cliff Note version of what Brent just said, because we were looking at 2 other OCR transactions, and we were speaking with our account manager at IDEA, and we mentioned a need to find an opportunity for these mid to high level customers that are non-EDI capable. And for McNaughton-McKay, we've got about 15,000 customers in our database, probably, and only 200 EDI trading partners, so a high volume of non-EDI customers. We have call centers throughout. We're in Michigan, Ohio, the Carolinas, and Georgia. We have 5 regional call centers, and this allows us to do this model. To use an overused term these days, it resonated so well with us. It allows us to have no capital investment. Some of the OCR technologies, you got to look at staffing, you got to look at technology, and you have to have a large capital investment, and then you have to figure out how to deploy it. Well, with the Connexium solution, it allows us to do a deployed, across, we can pick whatever customers want. We can cherry pick the high volume customers. We are looking at duplicating probably our largest call center with probably 10% of the cost that we have invested in personnel to support the same level of lines that we could transact through Connexium. So again, minimal investment or no investment, no capital investment, allows us to deploy it as we want to. It's a non-OCR transaction, so we believe in this higher accuracy model versus an OCR technology. And we just believe, as we all do, I'm sure, in the benefits of EDI. So the ability to convert non-EDI customers to an EDI process, probably the biggest payback for us is we have a lot of high, large volume, valuable customers that demand 100% of our CSR's time. You know, he's on the phone with one customer and he's got 2 on hold. So now if I can bring those orders in for him EDI, he can focus on not typing in orders. They can focus on customer service. They can focus on the upsell. They can focus on taking care of open orders or whatever other transactional business they have, rather than having that resource dedicated to typing, which is really what the last thing we want them to do. We truly believe in this. We think this is a great opportunity for McNaughton-McKay to reduce costs and increase customer service.
Thanks, James.
No problem.
I just wanted to follow up. From our due diligence, we checked out references, we called all their major customers, and we didn't rush into this quickly. I spent about the first 12 months when I came over to IDEA looking for a solution that would sort of do the same thing, and we kept looking at solutions that would lead somebody to a website where they'd have to rekey it. And we hit a couple of dead ends, and then when we got together with Connexion and EC Market, we really said, the light finally came on, that this is really about, I spent, as I said this morning, I spent 30 years in technology, and you can have the greatest solution, but it's still dependent on changing behavior. And the greatest thing about this, especially, I personally think it's a little bit more geared to a manufacturer than to a distributor, unless you're a pretty good size like Mac, but it doesn't require you to change your customer's behavior, and that's the beauty of it. And we love the fact that it converts it to EDI because we have a safety net for you. We track those. We make sure that they get into the system. There's no question. There's error correction. Everything you get with EDI. And the last pitch I would make for IDEA is the fact that most of you, I would assume, are using our IDX van services. We bring those to the channel at below industry norms and pricing. We are here, we are a for-profit company, but we have a mentality of a nonprofit to bring high value to the channel because we're owned by the channel. So we will bring you IDX services with this service at the best price that we can bring it in order to take cost out of the channel. And this product is geared and priced so that the more you consume of it, the cheaper it gets. And it is definitely an all-you-can-eat pricing methodology. So for one price for a customer, starting off roughly at about $100 a customer, you can convert every inbound order that they send you and send a confirmation back. And as you drill down and you get more and more usage, a big company like Mac has the potential to convert maybe hundreds of customers someday that do enough volume. And when you get to that kind of pricing per customer, it gets really down there. So we're really excited. I've seen a lot of solutions that sort of promise to deliver efficiency and promise to make life easier. I think this one really does. So thank you. And we will be demonstrating this quite a bit more now as we roll out of here. So I'll look forward to hopefully having you sit in on a live demonstration. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.